Hey guys, it's Merrick, not live once again, bringing you some more Star Wars action figures because my computer is still in the shop getting worked on, unfortunately. So I said, you know what, might as well take these guys down. And this is all of the Sith, all of them, all of the action figures of the Sith, give or take one or two or three characters slash variants that could technically be counted as Sith because they were Sith in the comic book slash Dark Jedi and whatnot. Excuse me. Some of those characters including Anakin Skywalker, pre-Darth Vader suit, Sora Bulk, and some of the other outfits for Galen Merrick. Anyway, but this is all of them. All the Sith that they've ever made so far, with obviously also one exception being Snoke, but who cares about Snoke? Anyway, let's dive into this with the, I want to say, original 2 post Rule of 2 formation. We're going to start off with Darth Plagueis the Wise and his trusty apprentice, Darth Sidious. Actually, not trusty because he murdered him. Anyway, Darth Plagueis was one of the individuals who managed to set off the Clone Wars with Sidious. And Plagueis, I love the design of. He is a Mun, something you probably would never guess, would be intimidating, which is pretty damn interesting. And yeah, he manipulated life to create, he manipulated midichlorians to create life, and so on and so forth. You know the tragic tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise. And his apprentice, Sidious, killed him in his sleep, who needs no introduction. Sidious is the one who actually managed to pull off the plan and become the Emperor of the Galaxy, Sheev Palpatine, or Emperor Palpatine, who took on several apprentices over his career, continuing the rule of 2 up to a certain point. So, before we talk about Suit Boy here, let's talk about some of his other apprentices. His first apprentice was good old Darth Maul. Darth Maul was a Zabrak, obviously, and he dies in Episode 1, though he does have some other continuity stuff in the Clone Wars, which is, in my opinion, part of the Disney canon rather than the expanded universe canon. But even so, he's a pretty cool character design. I love the idea, and this is one of the variants, of course. I do want to get his figure with the cloak, but this one is really cool, so you get to see his tattoos more, which is nice. It also comes with the Episode 1 lightsaber for this figure, which is interesting re-release of said lightsaber. But Maul just kind of existed to die, though he did have some interesting adventures to his name, such as fighting a Yushan Vong warrior in a prison. And what else did he do? Oh, he also owned C-3PX for a while, which is actually pretty interesting too. Before his untimely death at Naboo, he didn't, but unfortunately he didn't get to train any apprentice because, sliced in half by Obi-Wan Kenobi. Though we did get the confirmed kill on Qui-Gon Jinn, so he is memorable in that aspect. So moving on to his second apprentice, the fallen Jedi Master, Count Dooku, aka Darth Tyrannus, his Sith name. Dooku was the one who basically started the CIS in order to set the Clone Wars in motion. Dooku, as I said before, was a fallen Jedi who trained multiple different dark acolytes during the Clone Wars, and basically ran aground and died when he faced off against Anakin Skywalker for the last time. And, got his hands chopped off and got his head sliced off by his own curved lightsaber hilt, which is actually very good for dueling, apparently. I like that. I love his lightsaber design. And also, he ended up getting his head chopped off his hip fort and his hands chopped off by both his lightsaber and Anakin's lightsaber. So he had an untimely death, but he actually did manage to piece together that Palpatine was Sidious in that last moment, which is actually pretty damn cool. So onto his final apprentice, Darth Vader. Anakin Skywalker needs no introduction. The walking, breathing apparatus. Vader was a man, Anakin Skywalker, who's now more machine than man. He betrayed himself and his master Obi-Wan and the other Jedi and murdered them, as well as himself, to become Darth Vader. After suffering major burns, he was put inside of the suit, and yeah, he's become a walking tank with enhanced, the suit is magically enhanced with Sith magics and alchemy, and so on and so forth. But yeah, Vader existed for the entirety of the Galactic Civil War, whereupon in the end, he betrayed his master and avenged himself as well as his bloodline, murdering him, and returning to the light side before his death, unfortunately, where his suit and body were burned by his son Luke on Endor, receiving the traditional Jedi funeral, though he does live on as a Force spirit. And I should say, too, Palpatine did come back in Dark Empire and was stopped, but I'll get on that a bit later. So, moving on forward to, oh no, who is this? This is Luke Skywalker. During a brief stint in Dark Empire, he turned himself over to Palpatine, the revived Emperor Palpatine in his new regime, and he fell to the dark side in order to understand Sith teachings. He was redeemed by his sister, of course, and, long story short, he managed to defeat Palpatine on several occasions with his new learnings in the dark side and everything like that. So, briefly, he did carry around a good old red lightsaber there. And you see, he had the cloak before, but it still fits the dark side motif. Plus, that coat design is really cool. Though, going against some Sith designs, if you notice that a lot of the Sith characters here, their color schemes are black, silver, and red, with a bit of gray and white in them in some instances. Luke here actually has some blue. And I think that might be because, it's his ties to the light. His original lightsaber was blue because it used to be Anakin's, which was blue. And, eventually he redeemed himself, of course, as I said before. So I think that might be his ties to that, which is pretty cool. So moving on to good old Galen Marek, Starkiller. Vader, technically his only apprentice / secret apprentice before Ahsoka Tano was added in the Disney stuff, but he was cut from the canon in the Disney stuff. So anyway, this is the man who redeemed himself. It was taken as a child and became his Sith apprentice and eventually redeemed himself and forming the Alliance to Restore the Republic as a, way to try to get Vader's and the Emperor's enemies together to betray the Emperor. But Vader betrayed him twice, and thus he actually started the rebellion with his works. So fun thing about Starkiller is that he actually has multiple action figures of him made, a lot of variants, all of his outfits in the game, actually. So this is him in a bounty hunter disguise. I honestly wonder if this is based off an actual bounty hunter, because, this design is pretty cool. I honestly hate to see it go to waste. It's just a generico disguise, though I do love the color scheme on the helmet and the armor. Bodysuit basically is a red, while the helmet is blue, with a good old silver finish. Definitely goes against some of the values. So it does have the core silver and the red lightsaber from that. And then we also have two other outfits here. The Sith robes that you find on Raxus Prime, which definitely goes with the Sith motif of black, silver, red, and gray. I'm on focus. And yeah, pretty nice design. Not much to talk about. Just some Sith robes that are all one piece with the helmet there. Final piece of Starkiller here is an alternate figure, but he does have a couple more, but I don't own those figures. This is his focus. Sith Stalker armor counterpart. The armor he gets when he falls to the dark side at the end of the dark side ending. I love this armor design. It's really cool. It's like a futuristic or more like malformed Vader. Definitely more machine now than man. With blades on the arms, blades on the fingers. Like, this isn't like the midst of... He has a single blade on that finger. Oof. Yeah, you can tell the damage that was done to this guy. All these cuts and bruises and all the metal that needed to be replacing his missing parts. But yeah, this isn't even like the biggest of the drastic changes that this outfit has, because there's another variant that was never made into an action figure that I really love from the game. But I'm not going to get into that because we're talking about the action figures. But anyway, last bit, come on, focus. There we go. Sith Stalker armor. So, let's move on from good old Galen Marek to another fallen apprentice this is Maris Brood, the apprentice of Shakti who fell to the dark side after her master was slain. Maris Brood was defeated and kind of fell off, and she definitely has the Sith motif of the black and red, with some white there too. Maris Brood, after she was defeated, just kind of run off, so it's hard to tell what happened to her. Though, if she was redeemed or if she fell to the dark side more after the fact, but her action figure is definitely cool. It basically is based off of her design when she fell to the dark side, so yeah, it fits with the Dark Jedi / Sith we got going on here. And since we don't know, it's possible that, whatever, she might have not redeemed herself. But yeah, it definitely also goes with the really cool lightsaber tonfas / guard shotos, as they're also called, which definitely fit her aesthetic. I like that. Anyway, moving on to another former Emperor hand here. We got ourselves Lumaya, the Dark Lady of the Sith. So she is essentially more machine now than woman after getting shot down by Luke Skywalker. She was saved and rebuilt into basically what is a female Darth Vader. Her weapon of choice is a slightly modified light whip, which has several different unique characteristics as opposed to a regular light whip. Other than the main lightsaber blade, it also has several other strands of blades and chains that are made from both Mandalorian iron and other whips that are made from treated leather with lightsaber-resistant crystals embedded into them, giving her extra edges and whatnot. The only way Luke was able to defeat her with this weapon was by using a Shoto, which he still has, and I actually may have an action figure with him, which I'll talk about when it comes to the Jedi. But yeah, Lumaya's actually a pretty cool character. I think she worked with the Imperial Remnant because she was still around post Palpatine's death twice. So she was having some stories with her. She was having some stories with her going on in them. And she dies, and she also trains the fallen Darth Plagueis into being a Sith, and Darth Plagueis was Jacen Solo, who was one of the sons of the Solo family. Anyway, let's go a little back in time to the Clone Wars, where we have one of Dooku's first apprentices. This is Ashajj Ventress. She was a self-proclaimed Sith. She used to be a Jedi, but after her master died, she fell to the dark side and, went on a crazy killing spree and shit with her lightsabers. So she actually wields the lightsabers of Dooku's former apprentice, Komari Vosa, the deranged leader of the Bando Gora, if anybody's played the Bounty Hunter video game. So they were actually able to combine into a double-bladed lightsaber, which is actually pretty cool. But she barely uses that. It does make an appearance in the Clone Wars comic book series back from, I think, 2002 to 2003. We're running into 2005 and 6. I don't remember. But, it started around that time. The first Clone Wars series came out when she was introduced. So, yeah, she's got a pretty cool aesthetic. Once again, giving off the same Sith black with a little bit of brown, change it up. And her fate is also mysterious because she dies, is revived as a cyborg, and is severely injured at the Battle of Boz-Pity, where she is taken away on a medical frigate and is never seen again because she kind of hijacks a ship, so it's unknown if her sort of story is going to take her to the light side or to the dark side, because she does seem to want to repent her dark sideness. And also, being another Dark Acolyte, over here we got Tol Skor, another fallen Jedi that was loyal to Dooku after he saved his life near a Sith planet. Was it Korriban? I don't remember the planet that he was shot down over. But yeah, he was one of the Dark Acolytes until he, died by the hands of Quinlan Vos. There's a few good story intros, and I do like his backstory and loyalty to Dooku. And he does actually break some of the Sith design here by having some brown. And I think that's copper on his armor, so that's a pretty cool idea. So since we went a little bit back in time, let's go back a little bit further and talk about some ancient Sith. So I believe that this character is older than some of the other ancient Sith that I got. So this is Doroth Phobos. Not much is known about her, but she does appear in the PS2 version of Star Wars The Force Unleashed 1, where she is one of the Jedi Trials, a hologram that is based on her is fought, and her powers are using manipulation and fear to try to trick people into, submissive states. I believe her ship was shot down. That's how she died. I don't remember the backstories of all of like the of all of the two Sith that appear in that sort of thing. But yeah, her hologram is, fought by Galen Merrick, defeated, and he continues with his Sith trials. Which is kind of weird because they made an action figure out of her. She's the only one. Like Darth Decimus didn't even get one too. So yeah, pretty cool. Like the colors. This definitely breaks the code, but there is some silver on there too, other than the purples and the reds and whatnot. But yeah, Darth Phobos, pretty cool design. Definitely reuses some parts from one of the Jabba's Palace dancers, but because same species and whatnot. So over here to the other ancient Sith, we're going to talk about them in order here. Revan and Malak. So Darth Revan was a Jedi with his apprentice Alec. And what happened was they discovered the location of a Sith Emperor named Vitiate, whom they tried to fight and made them fall to the dark side. So they found the weapons station known as the Starforge and started producing a secret Sith fleet and attacked the Republic. In the ensuing fight, in one of the ensuing battles, Malak betrays Revan, kills him in air quotes, and Revan loses his memory and comes back as a Jedi and defeats Alec. So he can either fall to the dark. Revan can either fall to the dark side or, redeem himself and beat with the light, which is the canon ending, but he does kind of fall to the dark side again slightly. It's weird. It's kind of a weird take. But moving a bit forward in time from there, we got ourselves the Lord of Hunger, Darth Nihilus, one of my favorite Sith here. So Darth Nihilus is, as his name implies, he's not nihilistic, but he basically can only exist by subsiding on the Force energy. So he was a product of the mass shadow generator superweapon being used on Malachor 5, and he, as I said, can only feed on the Force to survive. So his one main attack is Force Drain, which is extremely powerful and allows him to consume Force energy, which gives him even more power. So his abilities can actually allow him to cause a ship that was completely destroyed in a space battle to basically reassemble itself, held together, and fly through space while he feeds on the life force of his crew and apprentice who is able to resist him enough to live as well, which is what his whole MO is. So you can actually defeat him if you have really good skills in keeping Force Drain up and whatnot. Otherwise, like I said, really cool design. I love the black robes with the white mask with the red little dots. And his spirit is actually encased in the mask, which is pretty cool. So, we can kind of live on post his death here. But yeah, Darth Nihilus. Really love the figure. One of my favorite Sith. And let's move on to the final one of the ancient Sith here, which is Darth Malgus. The sort of prototype Darth Vader here. Other than General Grievous, who's kind of also a prototype Vader. But that's beside the point. Anyway, yeah, a lot of Vader inspiration with this guy, though he does have a lot of Malgus in him. Malak in him, too. With the respirator mouth and whatnot. But that's more of like, a jaw hinge there. Because if I remove that, he's not going to have a bottom jaw. So, Malgus. I'm mistaking them both now because they basically look the same somewhat. So it definitely has the black silver trim. The black base, the silver trim, and the red of the lightsaber combined in there with a little bit of red dots on his chest. The Sith color scheme, that good stuff. But yeah, his design kind of basic, but I still like him anyway. And he's kind of the antagonist, kind of not, of the SWTOR game. So, it's kind of weird. Anyway, let's move on a bit forward in time. Some more post the good old original trilogy to the Legacy era. And right here up in the front, we got ourselves the fallen Jedi / new one Sith leader who took over the Fel Empire, Darth Krayt, and his cronies. So Darth Krayt here used to be known as Ashajj Ventress, who was a human-born Tusken Jedi Master. Well, Jedi Knight. During the Clone Wars, after many massive battles and a lot of strife and bad things happening, he basically fell to the dark side, and this is what happened to him in the future. He's encased in a Yuuzhan Vong coral armor, which is draining his health. He's actually very weak in this state, But even so, he manages to overcome it at the end of the comic, which is pretty cool. So check out the Legacy comics. They're really great. So let's get on to his lackeys here. So we got Darth Nihil, his main enforcer, and I believe he trained him as well, who used to be a warlord who obviously fell to the dark side. And yeah, became like one of the main Jedi hunters / one of the biggest enemies in the comic series of Legacy, which is pretty cool, with his long hilted lightsaber. And his second sort of apprentice, Darth Talon, yeah, another one of the main cronies who, kind of an assassin / subterfuge, almost kills the crew on many occasions. Yeah, so it's kind of obvious why they got action figures, but here's the weirdest one from this crew. This is Lord Malaval. He appears in one issue and one issue only, wielding an electro whip, as you see there, which is actually nice they gave him that. And he is basically an asshole who gets shot in the head at the end of the comic book, and no one questions it, because nobody wanted to deal with him. So Malaval existed to die, and he's an asshole. Which is kind of like a nothing burger character even so, which is kind of weird why they made an action figure based on him. But, you know the weirdness of this. At least it's a nice figure. I do like the red paint. Though I would say there are better Aqualish Sith that were in the one Sith 2 Magus figures. Like the one that was at the execution of the Mon Cals in the Quarren of Dak. But moving on to our final two proponents here. This is the last one of the expanded universe. This is Darth Bane, the one who started the Rule of Two. It's going to be hard to talk about his backstory, but I can tell you this much. This figure is definitely a different take on the character, with green obelisk armor rather than the purple, red, and pink sort of depicted in key art. But yeah, he also has a purple lightsaber, which kind of retconny, kind of not. It's weird, because he never explicitly said the color lightsaber until one point in time. But yeah, I like the purple design for the figure, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Darth Bane, the one who started the Rule of Two, who was betrayed by his... He started the Rule of Two after the Brotherhood of Darkness blew themselves up with a thought bomb. And he kind of started his reign and died betrayed by his apprentice Darth Zana, whom he saved from said thought bomb. But yeah, Darth Bane, pretty damn cool. Cool design, cool figure, great character. Check out his full backstory for more info, or check out the novels and stuff like that. They're really good. Anyway, onto the final character who is only in the Disney canon. This is Kylo Ren. I still love his design, but such wasted potential of a character. With the cool crossguard lightsaber, and definitely still has the Sith aesthetic of the black with silver and whatnot. But, anyway guys, thank you guys for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed the action figures. And I'll definitely see you guys whenever I manage to get my computer back and get back to streaming. Which should be sooner rather than later, as the technician said. Merrick out! See you guys!